Today we're going to talk about demand and supply shocks. And so far, right now we got our AD and AS model chart right here, where P stands for price, Y stands for output, AD for aggregate demand, SRAS for short run aggregate supply, and LRAS for the long run aggregate supply. I've gone ahead and marked our initial equilibrium point, which is at price P star and at output Y star. So we're going to touch up on a positive demand shock. And what that is when the aggregate demand moves into the right direction. So for instance, say the housing prices went up. That means that overall wealth has gone up, and therefore consumership has gone up, which means that aggregate demand as a whole will go up as well. So we'll move up right there, and we'll call that aggregate demand 2. And so we've moved, or we shifted to the right with aggregate demand. And now we have a new equilibrium point at a higher price than where we're initially at. And we'll call that P2. So it's at a higher price, and as well, it's at a higher output. And we'll go ahead and call that Y2. So at this point, overall price is now at a higher price than where you initially started and at a higher output. And so how the economy gets back into its original output or original potential output is that in the long run or over time, short run aggregate supply will actually shift to the left, meaning that we did not have as much supply as we did before. So we'll get a shift to the left until we get to the original output where we initially started right here, but overall the price has permanently increased. And we'll call that P3. So eventually the economy will put itself back at its original output, but it will permanently stay at a higher price. And that's a good example of a positive demand shock. And now, next, we're going to talk about a negative supply shock just to get things running along here. Going to clear everything out real quick. So, this one there. So a supply shock is a little different. When we talk about supply or how it will shift initially, we're talking about like input prices, technological, no, not tech, stuff like that, or a decrease in labor. So when we have a negative supply shock, ultimately this will shift to the left from where initial started and give us a new equilibrium point at this part right here. Oh, there we go. It's sort of somewhere right there, and that's where equilibrium point now is there. And it's at an overall higher price, but at a lower output. Now, in the long run, the way it will adjust itself is that short run supply will ultimately revert back to its original spot. It's going to put it a little lower so you guys can see where it goes. An equilibrium point will return to its initial output and initial price. So ultimately, when short-run aggregate supply shifts anywhere, ultimately the short-run supply will fix itself and head back to its initial price and output. Now we'll discuss a long-run supply shock, or also known as a permanent supply shock. So let's say that there's been an innovation in technology and now output ultimately can be put out more than it needs to be. So this means this will be a positive permanent supply shock, which would put output at a different at a higher at a higher potential than it was before. But in this case, price is undetermined. It could increase, it could decrease, or stay the same. We don't know. What we do know is that output is now at a higher rate than where it used to be, i.e. output 2. And so how the economy adjusts itself at this point is that eventually it will get there. So in the terms of short run supply. So it's not an initial change. So we're going to get a short run supply shift to the right, just like that. We're not exactly at the point where output will be in a long run aggregate supply, but we'll eventually get there. And another aggregate supply shift, short run supply shift. Boom. And that will be the new equilibrium or the permanent change. Right there. Oh, sorry, no, it would be at a new point where aggregate demand and supply meet here at this new long run supply. So that was a short run of how positive, negative shocks affect the total outcome in terms of long run aggregate supply, short run aggregate supply, or aggregate demand. And this is just a short run version of it, and more information could be found on the next few pages. Thank you for your time.